Okay. And then just to kind of give a little agenda of what we're doing, I'm Justin Anderson, Director of Franchise Development here with FiiZ. I've been doing this for about a year. It's coming up on a year in June, towards the end of June. And so what I'll do, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're looking for in franchisees, answer a few frequently asked questions that I'm asked, and go over what our approval process looks like. And then I'm going to turn the time over to Scott to go over his background experience, what sort of things he's been working on, give some updates on the company and what we're excited about as well. And throughout this call, I'll kind of be a moderator. So if you guys have questions, I'll invite you to post those into the comments portion of Zoom, and I'll just kind of go through that just because we've got 19 people on here. I guess 19 is not super, it's not a ton of people, so maybe we could do some unmuting and you ask questions like that. So maybe we just go that way, but let's just do either or. You can post a question in the comment or unmute yourself when we do open it up for question and answers. Um, so yeah, what I want to talk about first is what we're looking for in franchisees. So first of all, um, we're looking for minimum commitment of 5 stores or more in certain areas. So what that looks like is we break it down for you, so it's not a huge expense up front. Franchise fee starts for the first one at $40,000. For the second one, it's 30,000. For the third, it's 20,000. And then fourth is 20, fifth is 20, and it bottoms out there. So each additional one that you do is $20,000. And up front, you only need to pay for the full franchise fee of the first one plus 50% of the rest. So that comes out to, if you're doing a commitment of 5, that'd be 40,000 plus 15 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 at 85,000. And you would spend the rest of that money, throughout the timeline of when you're going to open up those stores. And typically what that looks like is like for 5 stores, it's one the first year, two the year after that, two the year after that. So it's usually two every year after that for however many that you're committing to. Um, let's see. And you would pay the remaining franchise portions when you go to build out that next store. So typically when you go to sign a lease, so for your second store, once you go to sign a lease for that one, you'd pay another 15. When you go to sign a lease for your third store, you'd pay another 10. But up front for 5, it'd be a total franchise fee of 130, but up front you'd only be paying 85 initially, and we'd carve out kind of a larger territory for you to specifically develop, and we're not going to be selling anybody else into your market, and it's something that I mean that's essentially what we're looking for is franchisees who can control entire markets and really just develop that area as a FiiZ partner, and we'll be right there behind you to help with every step along the way, everything that comes with that. And then as far as the approval process, I'm going to be your point of contact. If we haven't met in a while, please respond to, you can just text me or call me on the same number that you've been receiving these text messages from. And let's set up a call so that we can get you on to the next step. But what that looks like is the first step is to get sent the FDD. You need to sign that you received it. Just acknowledge that you received the disclosures. That's to essentially that's the FTC protecting you, making sure that you receive everything that we are supposed to tell you about. And then you have a chance to review all of that. It's a minimum time of 14 days for you to ask questions, think about it, and go over all the information that we have before you decide if it's something that you really want to commit to or not. After that, we'll do a second call where you can where it's like an FDD review call where I'll answer any other questions that have come up and do a territory analysis, kind of a high level overview of your market and what you're wanting to do. and see if we can try to help nail down the plan that you want to move forward with. And then there's a financial application that we have you fill out slash background check where you input kind of what your liquid assets are, your liquid capital is and what your estimated net worth is. And you do also do a background check so that we know who we're getting into business with and also just so that we know we're setting you up for success. And then for the third call, you'll meet with our head of real estate, Carly, who will give insights into your market and kind of help you understand like or give you the things that we're looking for as a brand, what you should be looking for in opening up a store, what you should be trying to avoid, and also what give kind of tips on and insights into that market. You'll also meet with our head of operations, Angela, who's been doing a great job for us for the last few months. And then a call with Scott Ball as the final interview call to kind of give me the thumbs up or thumbs down and see what we need to do from there. And then if he gives his blessing or thumbs up, then I can send over the franchise agreements and the invoice for the franchise fee and then make it all official from there. So that's kind of what the approval process looks like. We also, as far as resources go, we've got some good videos on our YouTube channel that you can comb through and and any other questions throughout the way, I'm kind of there to help provide answers and get you answers for whatever else you feel like is needed. So that's kind of what I had. If anyone has any other questions, see, I'll kind of be monitoring this chat. Let's see. Oh, Ryan, you asked if we've got the updated numbers for the FDD for 2024. We do now, and I can get that sent over to you um, as soon as I can. Probably today, as long as I don't forget. So, and then if anybody else has any questions, you can either unmute yourself or just do it in the comments, and I'll be monitoring that. And I'll turn the time over to you, Scott.
All right. Justin, thank you so much. Guys, pleasure to meet everybody today. Just a couple of things. First of all, I just want to clarify something that Justin said. As far as our development, and he mentioned, we're doing a minimum of 5 stores. That's typically 5 stores in our new markets. So if we're in an existing market and there's opportunity to continue to grow, then we will do less than 5. It just kind of depends on the market. So for example, I think if a couple of people mentioned Salt Lake City or Utah, obviously, we may not be able to do 5 stores, but there may be an opportunity to build, 1 or 2 in those markets. So we'll definitely take that under, consideration. So that 5 store is really just about, new markets, i.e. like in Atlanta or Chicago or one of those. But, we can obviously talk more in detail. But anyway, pleasure to be here. This is a great group. I love doing these. I do these every couple of weeks. And this really gives me an opportunity, gives you guys an opportunity to kind of hear from me a little bit and see really what's going on in FiiZ world, as I like to say. But yeah, so again, my name is Scott Ball. I'm the president of FiiZ, and I actually came on board at the middle of September of this past year. So I guess I'm coming up on like around 8 months or so, and it's been a great ride. Super excited to be here. Our brand's in a transformative stage right now, and things are really looking up, and we're super excited about our future and from an ops standpoint. So I've brought in a whole new team. Obviously, Justin is working with you guys on the franchise side, but I have a new ops team now, and we've got a supply chain. I created an R&D team. So we're really, really excited about, what's coming for FiiZ. And we've got a new director of marketing that just came on board recently, who's now part of our team. And so there's a lot going on. And so we're really, really excited about that, both from our existing franchisees. So right now we've got about 70 locations up and running. I'm proud to announce, you may have heard, we just signed a deal in Canada for 100 locations north of the border. And and actually our first location just opened up a couple of weeks ago. So far we're excited about that. But in addition to that, in addition to Canada, we've got 134 new locations that we've signed up since January 1. So we're cooking. Like, we're moving in the right direction. As you guys are aware, this is mostly we've been a Utah brand. That's kind of where we're based. But the good news is that we've opened up now in Washington State, Nevada. We've opened up in Idaho. We're in New Mexico. So we've kind of got the West Coast covered. By the way, I'm excited to announce we're getting ready to open up California. So anybody out, I think somebody mentioned they were from California. So that's a market we're looking at and continue on the West Coast. But we're also looking to head out east. So I'm excited to announce that we've signed deals in Florida. We've signed deals up in the New York metropolitan, New York City area. We've signed Indianapolis. We've got some markets in Texas that we're working on right now. So we've got a lot of great stuff going on. And I think this is a really fun and exciting time, for the FiiZ brand. And, we're getting a lot of publicity. There's a lot of press out there. Actually, I did a podcast today. I've been doing a bunch of podcasts lately, just on our concept, and, the whole dirty soda craze is kind of the term that, gets thrown out there a lot. And, it's going really well. And we're really excited about, the unit economics that we're now developing at the store level. And let me just say this. This is a franchise model. We have a couple of corporate stores, but we are a franchise model, and our success is based on your guys' success. So everything we do is based on growing sales and lowering costs. Like, that's our job as a brand, is to do that, and obviously support you along the way. So we got a lot of initiatives going on. When I came on, I jumped right into our data analysis and looking at our menu. We did a whole menu optimization plan. We updated our ops. I've gone back to all of our vendors. We've negotiated new terms we just signed a new Pepsi contract literally on May 1st. So we're super excited about that, bringing back a lot of money, a lot of rebates back to you guys as the franchisees. But also working with these vendors and working with their R&D departments. We've now got a whole marketing calendar up and running, and it's starting to show an impact. I mean, our sale, and by the way, just in the restaurant business in general, it's kind of been a weird few years, since the pandemic. And if some of you guys have been part of, in the restaurant world or even in the business world in general, the pandemic was kind of helped reset a lot of stuff. And we're now starting to really see our stride. And as I think I mentioned early in the call, I don't know who was on, but, over the last few weeks, we've been running a double-digit comp growth. So that's pretty exciting from our perspective. So we're excited. We've got, working with our partners, working with our vendors, but at the end of the day, it's about our franchisees. And I'll be honest with you, we're being a little bit, we're being, we want to make sure we bring in the right people. We don't want to just sign people up for just opening up, stores. We want to make sure we have the right partners, the right operators, because this is a process. And, if you've been in the restaurant business, by the way, it's not for everybody, but it could be a lot of fun, very lucrative. And if you do it right, you can really, really do well with it. So we're excited as a brand. Like I said, we have a lot of initiatives. We have our first LTOs, which are limited time offering products that are coming out in July. We've got a whole brand new marketing calendar all the way through 2025 and into now 2026. We're testing actually 7 new food items. So in addition to our incredible drinks, I have a big push on getting more food into our stores, into our restaurants. And we're actually got, like I said, a bunch of products right now in test. We're 4 weeks in, and it's been fantastic. We can't get these in our system fast enough. So we're excited. And as if all goes well, which we're anticipating it will, that, by August 1st, we'll have a whole new line of products coming into our stores as well. But again, it's all about, generating more sales, right? And bringing those costs and keeping those COGS, in line. So that's kind of where we're at as a brand. Like I said, a lot of exciting stuff going on. We're actively, as you know, that's why you guys are all here. We're looking for the right partners and the right franchisees that want to help us, through that journey. So I guess at this point, I'm going to open it up. Just to give you a quick background, I guess I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but I've been in the restaurant hospitality industry for 25, 30 years now. I started my career with a company called Triarch Restaurant Group. We were the parent for Arby's and TJ Cinnamons. And just like Justin, I was on the business development side and really learned a lot about the restaurant industry. But like you guys, I had this entrepreneurial bug. Like I had this spirit. I wanted to do something on my own and actually got involved with, actually, I looked at many, many different franchises, opportunities, food, not food. And I ended up going with Dunkin' Donuts. And I opened up 20 plus locations of Dunkin' Donuts in the Florida market and had a lot of success, learned a lot through that process. I acquired stores, I developed stores, I built from scratch, I did a ton of remodels. So I've kind of been through the gamut, from that perspective. Had an opportunity. And by the way, while I was with Duncan, I was also on the brand advisory council. So I was one of 12 franchisees that got to represent the brand. I was the Southeast representative. And really be part of strategic planning and product innovation and marketing and all the things that go into, I think building a brand. And so when I sold those units and I did some consulting work for some other brands as well. But when this opportunity came up for FiiZ, I literally was really excited about it. I love being in the beverage world. The margins are great. I think we have a really solid, business model. And I think this brand is about to take off. And, right now, like I said, we're at 70 units and I'm trying to get to 500 as quickly as we can, but we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do it with the right partners and the right franchisees. And that's where you guys come in. So, I'm going to open it up for questions. Feel free. I mean, I'm an open guy. I'm a franchisee guy. So I'm here for you guys, and I want all of you guys to be successful. So, questions. Like Justin said, we have a lot of markets that are open. This is a really unique time for FiiZ because you guys are at the ground level. There's really an opportunity to get into some of these newer markets, and we're excited about it. So, with that being said, Justin, I don't know if we have any questions, or you want to just open it up. Just start, asking away.
Hey Scott, this is Vivek. So I understand FiiZ is a great market. Now there are some health conscious people like, diet freak or something like that. What products do we have for them?
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So did you ask about diet-free products? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, I apologize. I'm traveling today, so that's why I'm sitting here in a car. But yeah, so great question. So first of all, let me just say this. We got great partners in the brand. And it's Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and Dr. Pepper. And really working with not only is there are traditional vendors and obviously, these that we do, but they also provide us a tremendous amount of R&D. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got these limited time offer LTO products coming out. Those are specifically designed and work directly with the Pepsi R&D team, with our team, and we've created these new products. So yes, so in regards to we understand that it's not just about soda anymore. We understand we have a whole bunch of water drinks. We have other carbonated beverages. We offer sugar-free drinks. We offer energy drinks. We have frozen drinks. There's a whole slew now of menu items that, we have available. What's really unique about it, and you guys probably see this a lot and you hear about it a lot, but if you look at Coke, Pepsi, even Dr. Pepper, they're all now not just in the soda business. They're in the water business. They're in the probiotic beverage business. There's so many things. Pepsi just bought a stake in Celsius, and there's so many other opportunities, out there. But having said all that, what's really, really interesting is that, and again, I see the data from our partners, soda consumption is actually on the rise. So even though you see all this, sugar stuff and, the soda consumption is still actually, on the rise, which, from our perspective is a good thing. Having said that, we sell a lot of Coke Zero and Sprite Zero and all those non-sugar options that are available as well. So we're definitely understand it. We definitely want to be part of it. And we definitely want to be able to offer, a healthier choice for our customers as well.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Let's see. We've got Lucas who commented asking if you could talk about margin.
I'm sorry, talk about the what?
Margins, profit margins.
Yeah, so I don't know who. So Justin is. So I'll keep this pretty generic right now because I don't know who's been disclosed or who hasn't been disclosed, from an FDD. But all the information is in the FDD. But generally speaking, when you're in the beverage business, and by the way, we do sell some food items as well, so I don't want to short that out. And by the way, that is becoming a bigger part of what we do. And what I'll say about that is people come in at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning for a soda. We want them to walk out with something else, right? Or if they come in during lunchtime, we want them to have the ability to walk out with a sweet or a savory, type food item. Or if they're coming after school, they can come and do that. We have some options now, but our R&D team, I literally have about 15, 20 products right now in the pipeline that over the course of the next 12 months, we are going to be adding, to our stores. But we have a process to go through. There's a testing process. There's an alpha test, a beta test, and so forth. But we are well on our way to that, and really excited about the offerings that we have. Having said all that, merchants, if you look at the restaurant industry, and I know there's probably some people on here, generally speaking, food costs on general are probably going to be in the low to mid 30s. But when you're a beverage company, you clearly should be below that, and that's typically where we're running right now. So from a theoretical food cost standpoint, we definitely want your margins to be in the the 28 to 30%, where that's kind of where we're at. Now, listen, there's a lot of factors that go into that. There's product mix, your sales mix, what you're selling, what you're not selling. But clearly, we feel that we've got the business model for longevity and and for being successful.
Hey, Scott, just another add into that. You mentioned in another call that we did a while ago how you had a goal to increase our margins by a certain percent. And then could you maybe talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, great point, Justin. So when I came on a few months back, I noticed that when I looked at our theoretical COGS or costs, they weren't where I thought they needed to be. So I initiated immediately a menu optimization. I wanted to look at all the data, what we were selling, how we were selling it, what sizes we were selling, looking at our recipes, looking at portion controls and all that. It was literally about a 3 or 4 month project. And through that, my goal was to take off about 6 to 8 points on our P&L, and that's on the food side. And the good news is, after 8 months, we've been able to do that. And what we found is we have, for example, we had a lot of products on our menu that weren't moving, or we had certain flavors of, say for example, we had a certain flavor shot that we just weren't moving. So you know what? We just eliminated it from the menu. And those are just examples. All right. So, oh, sorry. So on this whole optimization, and we've gotten our COGS or our theoretical COGS down to the number that we want to be in. And by the way, I had to go back to Coke and I had to renegotiate our terms. I had to go back to Pepsi. I had to go back to Dr. Pepper. I had to go back to all of our vendors and let them know that, listen, we're here for the long term. We're going to continue to grow, and we need to get the pricing that's in accordance to, to the kind of brand that we're at. So I'm really excited about what we've achieved so far. I will promise you that those are the types of things we'll never stop doing. I'm putting pressure on Cisco, and we just went out. So, for example, with Cisco, which is our main distributor, we were considered a regional contract. Well, now we're now a national contract with them. So that allows us to go into these other markets and be able to provide the pricing and the service levels that that we should be accustomed to. So super excited about that. And again, my job as brand president is to continue to drive those COGS down, get those costs down, and continue to help you guys drive your sales. So yeah.
Another question that was asked was the required kitchen build outs like hoods, grease pit, etc., walk-in fridge, freezers. What's the smallest square footprint allowed?
Yeah, great question. So I will tell you, our newest location we just built is 1,000 square feet. I love it. 1,000 square foot drive through. If we can get those, we've been able to engineer it to, to that level. I will say this, we're also working on a modular format, where I want to be able to, as you know, real estate's always a challenge out there, right? But there's also a lot of land out there. So if I can create a modular FiiZ, and we can just drop that on a piece of dirt, piece of land, that's a great one for us. So we're actually looking at like 800 square foot. We've been able to engineer it down to that size, but we also understand in the real world, 1,200, 1,500 is kind of the norm, especially for drive-through locations. So, again, we're going to do everything we can to engineer and value engineer those costs to get them, to where they need to be. So that's the good news is, so for less than 1,500 square feet, you can have yourself a really functional, operation. I will say this, 80 to 85% of our business goes through the drive-through. So that drive-through is very, very important. Having said that, we have opened up non-drive-through locations. We just opened up one in a mall. Actually, Canada's first location was actually in a mall. So we're doing that. We just opened up on a college campus at the University of Arizona in Tucson. That is not a drive-through. That is just a walk-up location, and they're doing very, very well there. So, although I think drive-through is what we want, and it's definitely our first choice, there are other options out there. Talking a bunch of universities right now, and putting inside of university student unions and things like that. The other thing is, and I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a peek under the tent, and I haven't really even shared this really with even my own team, but I'm negotiating right now with Walmart's got locations, all over the country, and they've got some retail space available, and they've come to us to see about the possibility of putting in some FiiZ. There's a lot of Dunkin' Donuts, there's Subways, there's a whole bunch of national brands that are now part of the Walmart system, and it's something that I'm really, really excited about, especially in some of these outlying markets, or markets that are already saturated, but to be able to go inside of a Walmart and to be able to take advantage of that traffic, I think is really exciting.
We had Jen ask where we can look at stores that are currently for sale, which hey, I guess I don't really have a good answer on that other than like biz for sale.
Yeah, I mean, basically, sometimes people list them with business brokers. I don't think honestly, we don't have a lot for sale right now. There are a few out there. Just so you guys know, when somebody does put a store, has an intent to sell a store, they have to let us know that. They fill out a form and they send that in. And Justin's usually aware of that. So if anybody has any interest in buying an existing, my first suggestion would be reach out to Justin. He can be able to give you an idea of what's available, what's out there, and then we can put you in touch directly with the franchisees. But generally speaking, we don't always know because sometimes they don't want to tell us or whatnot. But I will tell you right now, I know there's a few, but that's pretty it. Right now, it's all about really, development. Most of my franchisees are asking for, okay, I want to build more stores. How do I do that? So that's kind of the mode we're in right now.
Yeah, and usually if it's in an area that you're looking in, I'll bring that up to you. But other than that, if you're looking at traveling and you want to know, then just ask me what's for sale and we could talk about what the opportunities are. No other questions right now in the comments. If anyone else has questions, you can put them in the comments or unmute yourselves and ask.
Justin. So, Scott, this is Ethan. So, I work for corporate
Hey,
Walmart
Ethan.
here at the headquarters in Bentonville, and
Oh, awesome.
We have Swig coming on our new campus. And so, my question is, how close would you build next to a competitor? Because this new campus is absolutely humongous. And so, the idea you could even be on opposite ends. It's so big. Have Swig on one end, FiiZ on the other. But I'm just wondering, how close would you build or put your shop next to a competitor?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, obviously it depends on the location, the geographic area, and so forth. I will tell you, if you come to Salt Lake, we have many fizzes and swigs literally right next door or across the street from each other.
Awesome.
And, I come from the Dunkin' Donuts world, and I will tell you that sometimes Dunkin' Donuts have two and three on the same corner, or across the street. Or it just depends on, traffic patterns and traffic counts and, trade areas. So there's a lot that goes into those. I'm not adverse to it. Listen, I don't necessarily listen. If there's a competitor in a market, I think that and they're successful, I think that just proves that, the concept is good in that market. But clearly, we also have to be careful that we're not saturating the market with too much at the same time. But having said that, I'm not adverse to we're doing it now, and we not only are we both there, but we're both doing well. So I think in that case, it can definitely work. It just really depends on the market. As far as specifically about Bentonville, I know the area. I'm not, do I think we could also have a FiiZ in a market where there's potentially a swig? Yeah, I do. And the reality of it is, where else do you go all around the country and you see Burger King and McDonald's next door. You see, Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. Yeah, it's just going to depend on location and, and certain demographics. But generally speaking, I do believe it's okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
I was curious about the modulars. I know that we've watched a couple of the videos that are sitting out on YouTube, and we briefly talked to Justin about that recently. But where are you guys at in the process with modulars, and what's the opinion, I guess, if we were to um, build our own in our local area?
Yeah, so basically what we've done is we've hired an architectural design firm to help us kind of create what that modular is going to look like, right? So a couple things. I'm either going to sign up with a national company that can go off and build, X amount of these, and be able to produce them and deliver them. The other option is taking the plans that we've created and approved and giving them to you, the local franchisee, who can then go ahead and get it spec'd out, from a local standpoint. Because one of the things we're looking at is, so for example, let's just say I found a modular builder in Denver, Colorado, but, is it cost effective for them to build, ship, install, say in Florida or New York, North Carolina, wherever. So these are the things that we're trying to figure out internally. I will be honest with you, I'm a little surprised. The modular building, it's not that expensive. That part I'm not concerned about. What I'm concerned about is all the infrastructure that has to go into the ground to be able to bring in the plumbing and the electric and and all that. And every municipality is different and every geographic area is different. But there's a lot of land out there. But I'm getting a little. I'm getting a little sticker shock on some of the prices that I'm seeing to actually put in, all the utilities that are required to do this. But from a building standpoint, and by the way, I'm working with some existing franchisees now on this, so they're actually kind of helping me in spearheading this process. But I'm excited about it. I think there's definitely an opportunity, for the actual for modular, but we just have to kind of finish the process. And I think what'll end up happening is we'll come up with a design and we'll allow you guys to source it out at the local level. I think that's where this is going to end up because again, prices I think somebody mentioned they're in Montana is going to be very different than in Orlando, Florida, or in, Westchester County, New York, or so forth. So we have to kind of be cognizant of that and do what's best for you. At the end of the day, I want to do what's best for the franchisees. What's going to be the most cost-effective way to pull this off?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I appreciate that. And I guess my only question as far as like us building our own or having somebody local do it is, other than having a consistency across the brand, my brick and mortar store that is an existing building is going to look very different than somebody else's in, say, Florida or Colorado. And so, So yeah, I guess that was my only
So
question as far as us.
yeah, and let me just say this. So we have a set design. So right now, so one of the things that I've done since I've been here is we've kind of updated our what we call like our design book. And so we've got all the specs on what like the reality of it is every FiiZ would have elements nationwide, whether you're in Utah, Florida, North Dakota, California, we should all kind of have a deal. Now, as you guys know, and I don't know if people who've been in the franchise world or the brand world, you know, those typically every 5 to 10 years, you always want to do updates, right? Things change. You want to modernize brands. And that's something we'll always, you know, keep an eye on. But generally speaking, we're going to have a design book. And the way the process works is you find a location, we sign off on the location. We're going to send you our design book. You're going to give that to your local architect. Your architect is going to design the
Did we lose him?
Yeah, it looks like we just lost Scott. So don't know what happened. Maybe his phone died or overheated or something.
It probably died out.
Yeah, I'll give him a call real quick and see.
All right, I'm gonna drop off. Hey, Justin, you see my note? Just call me next week.
Yep, absolutely. Made me really happy to see that.
Yeah, man, let's do modular because I mean, there's so many guys doing that from Dutch Brothers and everyone else, and they're so simple. They're easy to drop in. Electrical's not that hard to do if you know how to do it with the municipalities. So let's talk about that because I can make it real simple.
Okay,
Thanks,
perfect.
bud. See you, buddy.
Justin, are you there?
Yep. Yeah, we
Okay, sorry. I think I got blocked out. Sorry about that, guys. So I don't know where you lost me, but basically, once once you've found a site, we're going to send you our design book. That design book, you will send to your architect, your local architect. They will draw up the plans. We'll review the plans. We'll approve the plans, and then you'll send those plans in, you know, to your city for permits and so forth. But you're going to have a set design kind of layout, and decor packages and so forth, and that's kind of our process. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Scott, I got another question based upon what you were just talking about with the modulars and such. Here in Northwest Arkansas, we now are the mecca for mountain biking. And the Walton grandkids are putting so much money into this territory. What is your concept, or if you've thought about it with this modular concept of putting stuff out on the trails, being a little bit more rural, I guess you can say, because they have coffee shops that are specifically planted along. But if you could offer not just like soda drinks, but how you were talking about, you have a variety of menu options that cater to others, then I think this could be just like small coffee shops all around, but even on the trails in these areas. Is that something that is feasible, or is it more of we want to stay on the highways and streets, etc.?
No, listen, I don't, when you say trails, I'm not sure if you're thinking of having like a little, food truck kind of out on the trails and blah, blah. What I would say to that is, and we have other franchisees that do this, is we've had franchisees that have like little carts. They have a couple of people have like FiiZ trucks that they've kind of retrofitted. So they go to the local parks, they go to the local events. We were up at a rodeo last year in Utah, up in the mountains. So they went and had a little food truck set up there. So we give those opportunities, and I think that's really more on a franchisee by franchisee basis. If you guys want to do that and set up that opportunity, absolutely. We'll provide you the technology, we'll provide you the resources, and we'll help you get there. So I think that's kind of the more of the approach that we would take on this. Does that make sense? Does that answer?
Oh yeah, totally. I appreciate it.
But I love that thinking. I mean, honestly, like, you know, listen, there's so much we can do in a traditional unit, but there's so much more we can do in local communities and parks and fairs and schools. And there's so much. And we're actually working on putting together a more formal like catering program. So there's going to be opportunities for that. So yeah, I think there's tremendous opportunity in these communities and some of these, these outlying, untraditional kind of opportunities.
Yep, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Justin, we got anything else?
No, it seems like people are super excited about modular. So I think that could be a good thing for us to keep making progress on.
Perfect. Awesome.
And
Um,
if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to unmute yourselves. We could also wrap it up around here quick. I'd say for the biggest thing for me would just be to echo, like if we don't have a call set up in the future, then feel free to reach back out to me just on the phone number that I've been texting you on, and then we can go from there. So talk about next.
yeah, and I'll just say, guys, it's really been a pleasure. I love doing these calls, and I'm a big believer in the franchise model and the franchise system, and I love FiiZ. I mean, I love the energy of the brand. I love the fact that we're in the beverage business. I love the business model that we've kind of created for this, and I'm super excited about it. And yeah, but at the same time, we want to find the right franchisees and the right partners. And Justin gets mad at me once in a while because some people we don't approve. But at the end of the day, we're looking for good partners and the right partners. And but we're excited. This is a great opportunity. Like I said earlier, the brands, markets are available, and this is an opportunity to come into some of these new markets. And we're excited about it, really excited about it. So, and by the way, anybody ever has any questions specifically for me, Justin will be more than happy to give you my contact info. No problem talking with anybody. But at the same time, go through the process and see if it's the right, business for you, and we'll help you out, along the way.
Got one question.
Yeah.
So in regarding the sign, so do you have a national sign company, or do you have like we can use certain sign
Yes.
companies in the area?
No, so we have a national sign company right now. And like I said earlier, I'm always reviewing, our programs and our vendors. Right now, we use a company called, I think it's Allied Sign, who does all our signage. And by the way, it allows me to it allows us to keep everything kind of consistent and, being able to manage, one vendor. But they are a national company, and they do our signs. And that's typically what we do. As far as as far as the construction goes of your locations, obviously that's all done at the local level. But as far as our equipment, we have an equipment company that we use called CKS, Commercial Kitchen Solutions. They're basically a consolidator. You guys are going to place your orders, and they're going to ship everything. They're going to install everything. They're going to set everything up for you guys. So on signage, equipment, all that kind of stuff, we have our national vendors that we work with. And again, that's done to give you guys the best possible price. If I can negotiate for 134 locations, that's going to be different than you guys negotiating, for one in a local market. Having said that, there are opportunities where, so for example, I'll just give you a quick example, but we used to do all our uniforms. Our uniforms were used through one vendor, which was actually in Utah. And I was getting a lot of pushback from franchisees saying, hey, so I can get them for 20% cheaper if I do it locally, and, I don't have to pay the shipping and all that. So that's an example of, we now provide you with the uniform specs. You can go through our vendor, or if you have somebody locally that can do it, that's okay too, as long as they do it to our specs. So, but for the bigger stuff, yeah, we want control over that. It's important that we have that brand consistency. And so, yes, signage will handle through that. Who knows?
Thank
In
you.
6 months or a year, we may be looking at other vendors as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right, Justin, anything else?
No, other than I never get mad at Scott. He said sometimes I get mad at him. But honestly, I'm just totally bought into this FiiZ store as well, and I'm super excited about the future of where it's going, and I'm super grateful for Scott and his leadership, and so super excited to just be working with all of you guys and move this company forward. So thanks everybody for hopping on.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks, guys. And listen, everybody have a great weekend. I know it's a Friday afternoon, so everybody travel safe, enjoy, and get ready for summer, man. It's summertime, which, by the way, is great for FiiZ. This is our big season right now. We get real busy right now.
Okay.
Everybody have fun.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thanks, Scott.
Take care, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
See ya.